Hey guys, so basically a friend just asked me if I'd make a video on my top 5 all-time favourite albums, but I told him I struggled and I wouldn't be able to make my all-time favourite top 5, so I'm basically going to show 20 of my favourite albums, and I will, in the mix, well, the last two, I will show you my 2 all-time favourite albums, which to me they're just both masterpieces. So yeah, so basically these are some of my favourites, so let's get into it. And basically the first album I'm going to show you is Dimmu Borgir, which is basically Enthroned Darkness Triumphant, which is basically this is my favourite Dimmu Borgir album, and I heard it many years ago, and it's just the album's absolutely brilliant. So that's my favourite Dimmu Borgir album. And the next one I'm going to show you is basically Ancient Bards, which is Origins, the Black Crystal Sword Saga Part 2. I seen these in Birmingham a couple of years ago, and it was Power Metal Quest Fest, and before then I hadn't really listened. I'd heard of them and I've heard tracks and listened to them, but I didn't heavily get into them. And then after Power Metal Quest Fest, I seen them and was like, oh, these are brilliant. So I went out and basically got the back catalogue, and yeah, so this is my favourite album by Ancient Bards. And if you haven't seen them, I do recommend them. They're epic, sort of epic symphonic power metal or symphonic metal. Yeah, so basically we move on to the next one, which is a band I absolutely love, and they are called Labyrinth, and this is Architecture of God, and they have a new album coming out in February, so I'm eager for the new album. But this band is brilliant. I've not seen them live yet, but if you get a chance, I would, if you love power metal. So yeah, so my favourite Labyrinth album. Now we're going for Amorphis. The later stuff is more prog, but the earlier stuff they went through basically different phases. But this is my favourite Amorphis album because my favourite track's on here, and that's Bad Blood. But yeah, this album's brilliant. I managed to get to see them on the Under the Red Cloud 2 in Wolverhampton, and they were brilliant live. But yeah, I'll hopefully get to see them again one day. And the next album I'm going to show you is Guardians of Time, Tearing Up the World. I managed to see these last year at Bloodstock, and they basically blew me away, and I've been wanting to see them for a while, but I have their back catalogue and I highly recommend them. If you're a fan of power metal, then yeah, I'll give them a go. But they have a special guest on here, which is basically Tim the Ripper Owens, which he done a couple of albums with Priest and a couple of Iced Earth albums and various other projects. But yeah, I recommend giving this a listen. The next album is basically, these are the pioneers of power metal, which to me is basically the ones that started it. And this is basically Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2, and my favourite track is on this album, which is March of Time. But the whole album's incredible, and if you get a chance to listen to the title track, Keeper of the Seven Keys, just start to finish, is just brilliant. I just have one question: if I ever got to meet Michael Sisk, and that's where does the 6th and the 7th key go? Because in the song they don't mention it, which I'd love to know where the 6th and the 7th key go. So yeah, we move on to the next one, which is one of my favourite albums, and that is basically Power Quest with Neverworld. I've seen this band 10 times so far, and I went to London last year, and I was at the anniversary for the where they basically played the whole album in its full. And when I finally got to hear When I'm Gone live, that was it. I've gone. I nearly cried because that album's incredible. Plus, they paid tribute to the late bass player Paul Finn, which sadly passed away. I think it was a heart attack, which was a shame. But so that's my favourite Power Quest album. My favourite Iron Maiden album, Power Slave, which is basically one of my all-time favourite Iron Maiden tracks, is on the album, which is Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and most people have listened to this album. But yeah, that's my basically my favourite Iron Maiden album. This next one, I highly recommend giving these a listen. It's Maria Stenilson's Legend of Valley Doom, which is basically, if you like rock operas, metal operas and that sort of thing, because it features loads of special guests like Michael Sisk and various others, but I do love giving this a listen. I would if I was you, because it's incredible, and they're currently working on Legend of Valley doing part 3, which I'm super excited for. And my favourite track off this album is Tower of Knowledge, but this album you have to listen to all the way through because it like tells a story, and it's basically based on Lord of the Rings, which is pretty cool. My next one I'm going to show you is my favourite Rhapsody, which is Dawn of Victory. Most people have told me this is their favourite album, but yeah, it's my favourite album, and the whole album is incredible, but The Last Winged Unicorn is my favourite Rhapsody song. I have not seen them perform it live, but I've seen it on like YouTube and everything, but I managed to see the anniversary tour of Farewell Anniversary of Rhapsody, and they were brilliant. But we come to my favourite Judas Priest album, which is Painkiller. I seen them last year at Bloodstock and they performed Painkiller, which was brilliant, but my favourite Judas Priest song is on this album, which is Nightcrawler. And I'd love to actually see them perform it live, but I've seen them DVDs and YouTube, but not you know. So basically we'll move on to my next one, which is Incinerate Him, which is Deicide, which it's a shame that I've heard that they don't play Bible Basher anymore live, which was a shame because it's my favourite Deicide song. I'd kill to see these live because I've not seen them, and when I've done UK tours I've pulled out quite a few times, which is a bore ache, but I'm hoping one day I do get to see them. The next one is In Flames, Clayman. I also have just bought the anniversary remastered because I thought the anniversary edition, because I'll give that a go and give it a listen and see what my thoughts are on it. But yeah, my favourite track off this album is Pinball Map. And we move on to my favourite Avantasia album, which is The Wicked Symphony. If you haven't listened to these, it's basically a rock metal opera, and I seen them in London on the Moonglow tour, which is the last one, and they're absolutely fantastic, so I highly recommend checking these out. The next one is basically Behemoth, the Satanist. I've seen these twice because I seen them their headlining tour the last time they was over with At the Gates backing, which I thought was pretty cool, and then I'd seen them again. I'm not quite sure what the other show was, but yeah, they were absolutely brilliant, and I highly recommend giving this one, which is my favourite Behemoth album. Next one is one of my all-time favourite albums, and it's Demanufacture. I've not been able to see these live, but I was slightly gutted that Burton C. Bell has left the band, which saddened me, but I'm hoping one day I get to see him. And the outstanding track on this, which is my favourite, is Zero Signal, because that middle part is just makes my hairs on my arms stand up. And yep, so the next album I'm going to show you is Def Leppard Hysteria. As you can see, I have a right mix of taste in music, so it goes from Def Leppard to Saxon to Dimmu Borgir, Deicide, and a bit of everything in between. But yeah, so this is my favourite Def Leppard album. My favourite track is on this album, which is Animal. And the next album is basically Pink Floyd The Wall, which is my favourite Pink Floyd album. I just recently played the live Delicate Sound of Thunder, which I had turn up, and that was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, so this is basically my favourite Pink Floyd album. Right, I'm going to show you my two all-time favourite albums, which I shall start with my second all-time favourite album, which is basically Hammerfall, Glory to the Brave. I've seen these twice and I've played various songs off the album, but I watched their performance on YouTube from Wacken, where they played the whole album in full. Although there was technical difficulties, it was brilliant. But when I seen them the first time in Wolverhampton on the No Sacrifice No Victory tour, they played the Dragon Lies Bleeding, which is basically my favourite Hammerfall song. So yeah, that's my favourite Hammerfall album. So basically now I'm going to show you my all-time favourite album. Since it was released in 2001, I've played this gazillion times, and I've got umpteen versions of it. And yeah, just in my eyes, because a few people agree but a few don't, it's basically the best album which was, in my eyes, is ever written. And that album is Rammstein, Mutter. They are my all-time favourite band, so I've seen them 4 times. I was meant to see them 2 more this year, but COVID got in the way, so hopefully next year I'll get to them 2 shows. But yeah, so this is basically my all-time favourite album, and from start to finish, incredible. And my favourite track is Mutter. So yeah, so that's basically some of my favourite albums. I could have mentioned another like 30-40 albums, but I thought I'd pick a couple from basically different genres. So yeah, so thank you for watching and hope you enjoyed, and see you on the next video.